This is a video of April's block of the month. It's called Coxey's Camp, and we're using three different color fabrics. And the instructions tell us down on page 3 of which strips and the size that we cut. So for color 1, which I've created a little cheat sheet for myself just so that I wouldn't get confused and to know which one is which. For color 1, it is my Easter egg fabric here, and color 2 is my plain pink, which is over here, and color 3 is my striped Easter print with it's all glittery. I love the glittery stuff. So on color 1, which again is my Easter egg, you're going to be cutting 3 1/2 by 14-inch strip. That is this one here, the shorter strip. And you're going to be cutting a strip of 2 5/8 by 5 1/4. And that's this strip here. We're also going to be cutting a strip of 2 by 26. So that's this long strip here, 2 by 26. On color 2, which is my plain pink, it's going to be a very small part of the block. So we're going to cut a 2 5/8 by 5 1/4 inch block here. And then on color 3, which is my striped fabric, we're going to cut a 2 26 inch strip and a 3 7/8 by 7 3/4 strip here. These two long strips will actually go together in our instructions. Step 1 is to take our 3 1/4 by 14 inch strip, and we're going to cut 3 1/2 inch squares from there. We're going to cut 4. So I'm going to go ahead and move my other fabrics away. And I'm going to take this fabric here, and we're going to cut 4 3 1/2 inch squares. I'm going to take my handy dandy ruler, and it actually is 3 1/2. 1, 2, 3 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side. I'm going to pick up my rotary cutter, which has an automatic open and close. Since our last meeting, the lady showed me this set, and I got in trouble by somebody for leaving my rotary cutter open. And actually the other day I was doing a project for the high school, and my rotary cutter slid off of my cutting table here and put a little scrape on my leg. So it wasn't deep, it was just a little scrape, but I learned my lesson. So I'm going to take my auto rotary cutter, and I'm going to cut 3 1/2 inch squares. Now my width of my long piece here is 3 1/2, so it's from here to here is 3 1/2. So I'm just going to take it and cut 3 1/2 with this nice little ruler I have. There's one piece. Make sure that we're right on the money. And I'll check my last piece to make sure that it's 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. Perfect. Okay, so that is the first instruction. So we're going to put that up here. Next instruction is to take color 3, the 3 7/8 by 7 3/4 inch strip here, and cut it into 2 squares, which are going to measure out to 3 7/8. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now this is my 3 1/2 inch ruler, so I can't really use that. I'm going to go ahead and use my big ruler. Make sure I'm at my full inch on each corner. So it's 3 7/8 that we're going to make this square. So see if I can't get closer. 3 7. I like this ruler because it's got that point mark, which really is extremely helpful. So we're at 3 7/8. There we go. And we're going to cut that. Oh, okay, wonderful. All right, I'm a little off on that, but I am going to make it work. So I'm going to have a little piece that's missing there, but I'm going to make that work. So for all of those who make those mistakes, we'll see if it's going to work out. Right after we've cut these together, we need to take them and put the fabrics right side together, and we're going to go ahead and cut on the diagonal so that we have 4 triangles remaining from this fabric. So go ahead and cut on the diagonal, and there we have our triangles. Squares. The next thing is we're going to, the instructions indicate to us that we need to take the 2 large strips, which are 2 by 26. That's these 2 strips here. And that would be our color 1 and our color 3. And we're going to sew those together on the long side. So we're going to put our fabrics together, right sides together, and we're going to we're going to sew straight down the large side of our fabric, our strip here. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and do that and get right back with you. So I'm back. I sewed these 2 pieces of fabrics together, and the instructions always, and everybody who knows quilting after a while, you understand that you're supposed to always press towards the darker fabric. So this is my darker fabric here, and I'm going to press my little Easter eggs and my chickens towards the darker side. This little iron I purchased recently at the show that we went to, the quilt expo that we went to in Pigeon Forge. I have to tell you, I really like it. It puts a nice crisp edge press onto the fabric with minimal effort. It's nice and lightweight, and the steam only works when it is in the down position, not in the upright position, so you don't use a lot of you don't lose a lot of steam. It only takes about 1 ounce of water to put in there at a time. Big projects, I did wind up having to fill it a couple times, but all in all, I'm pretty impressed with the little iron. I like it. I like how lightweight it is. I don't like using big irons at my sewing area. I don't mind so much on my big table, but here in my sewing area I like to have a small lightweight iron. So I've pressed that together. As you can see, it's a really nice strip. Alright, now that we've got our piece all sewn together and pressed, we've got it over here, we're going to take it, and now we are going to, we did the scant 1/4 inch, we pressed it, and then we're going to cut it at 6.5 inch intervals. So we're going to get our little handy dandy ruler. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my square ruler because it's just so much easier to go 6.5. Move all this over. Go 6.5. And I'm going to go a little over because my corner here is missing. So 6.5. Move it over a little bit. Go 6.5. Move that over. 6.5. And then of course our last piece should be 6.1/2. Seems a little bit off, and that might have been from stretching when we sewed it together. I'm going to go ahead and take that little piece off. Let's see how we're measuring up here. So 3.5, 3.5. Seems like our pieces are a little messed up, but we're going to see if we can't just make it work. They're close enough. 3.5, 3.5. Okay. Now go ahead and square this up. Okay, this is good. All right, there we go. It does measure out just fine. So now that we've done that, okay, now we're going to go ahead and take our color 3. Now we're going to insert that video into there. Alright, now that we've cut that, we're going to take all of our pieces over to the sewing machine because the next part is all about sewing our pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of these pieces over to the sewing machine, and I'll come back right. Our next set of instructions are to take the 2 5/8 inch squares and put those together. So basically we're going to sew them like so. We can do it any way we want, actually. 2 5/8 and 2 5/8. We're going to sew them so that our ending block for this pieces go together. So we're going to put these right sides together, and we're going to sew. And this is going to make the center part of our block. So very carefully put those together. Sew these together. Now we're going to take our two little pieces, and we're going to go ahead and iron them to the darker fabric. So I would say that's the pink fabric there. And then this one here. Great. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our fabric that's here, and we're going to sew them together. We do need them opposites, like so. So we're going to go ahead and sew those together. going to go ahead and iron that to one side. At this point, your best, which way you want it, since there's really no right way, dark side. So, and I always like to give it a nice press on the front. Okay, so there's that step. Now that we've put this piece together, we're going to take our triangles and we are going to sew them to our center square there. And so it's basically going to look like so. And then of course I have striped fabric, so I can figure out how I want to place these. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have a better way of doing this. So this is exactly how I want to sew it in together. So we're going to have all the stripes going this way, and so it's going to look much better. Excuse me. So we're going to sew them like so. So what I'll do is I'm going to take my, so I don't get confused, I'm going to go ahead and pin these. So I put on my one triangle with the stripes, and the instructions tell you to press it towards the center, which I did. And so each time you put a triangle on, you need to press that open. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my next triangle. Now my stripes are always going inward, so I'm going to attach this to this side of my block. Now what I've done to make it a little bit simpler for myself, I've taken my corner to corner on my triangle and I just put a very small little press in the center, and that way if I come over here I can use that press that I have and center it in between my two squares, and that way I'm sure to get even on all sides. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this and the rest of them, press them open, and restart this video. Okay, now that we've put that all together, it should look like this, to where you have a 1/4 inch here at each corner with more fabric. My first one didn't turn out that way, so I had to recut this center piece and get that to work. So no shame in that. Anyway, now we're going to put together our block. So that is our center block, and how this is going to go is these are going to be our corner pieces. Let me make sure my little chickie. Now that our center piece is put together and it's squared, we're going to put together the remaining pieces and assemble our block. So we take our color 1 and we put it in the corner. I'm going to make sure that my little chickens are somewhat aligned. This one goes here, then I have another one over here, and this is going to go there. And then our middle pieces are going to be where color 1 is on the inside piece, and it matches up like so. Like so, and like so. Now if you ask me, this seems to be a little busy of a block. My second block, I might choose to go with the striped fabric where the pink is, or even the chicken fabric where the pink is, and put this solid pink more in the corners, just so that the other colors pop out versus being so busy like this. but you live and you learn. So I'm going to separate my rows like this. I'm going to assemble each row, and once I've done that, then I'm going to attach the rows together. So I'm going to take this piece, put right sides together, sew here, and then once that's together and ironed, I'm going to sew it like so. Let me do that. Let me put my rows together, give you an eye shot of that, and then we'll take our rows and assemble those. Okay, so I have my pieces assembled, as you can see. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to sew it to the middle, and then once that's sewn and pressed, then I'm going to take that and sew it to the bottom strip, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sewn my square together, my block, and I just checked it, and it's 12 by 12. I mean, I could put it up here and show you. It is 12 and a half by 12 and a half. Very good. I'm pleased with it, but it's a little busy. It's too many. These patterns don't really go that well together, but it is a example of when you're just starting out how to pick colors together. I'm disappointed with these two corners. They're not matching up perfectly, but all in all, it will work for what it was made for, which is a charity quilt, as well as my monthly one that I'll keep in my sewing room. So that ends this tutorial on Coxey's Corner. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will be back with May's block of the month. Thank you.